Look at you, almost walking.
Wild horses couldn't keep me away.
Spiffy stick.
Beats a walker.
Haven't got a blade hidden in there anywhere, have you?
Never know.
Well, I won't turn my back on you.
Never advisable.
Hey, Luke.
Oh, hi.
That Damien fellow's making a remarkable recovery, isn't he?
Yeah, isn't there anything you can do about that, Doc?
So we're focused on Frank Smith and how tight he was with Quartermain and Boland. Was he simply an investor, or did he help put the squeeze on my father?
My experience of Frank is that he never puts money where he isn't prepared to put muscle.
So, how do we get close enough to Frank Smith to find out?
Hey,
Nurse said you were
what's
here.
up?
Nothing. Am I crashing a party here?
Oh, I guess it's about time you guys met. Justice Ward, Sonny Corinthos.
How do you do, Mr. Corinthos?
I'm doing pretty well, Mr. Ward. How about yourself?
Oh, well, better every day, they tell me.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm sure a lot of people in Port Charles will be happy to see you on your feet.
Are you included in that group?
Well, I tend to trust Luke's judgment.
So do I.
Well, if I do say so myself, you both show incredible insight and good taste in character.
So I've heard some very interesting things about you from Luke.
And I've heard some very interesting things about you from Luke. Mr. Gossip Man here.
Well, I figure, you round up the right people, you get the job done, huh?
Well, if the job means getting him elected, my presence here is a little compromising, don't you think?
Well, getting me elected is part of a long-range plan. But there are other things that take precedence. For instance, finding out what connection Frank Smith had to my father's murder.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that you may be of some help in that area. And I'd appreciate it.
Look, I'm happy to help you two find the truth. As long as I don't cut my throat in the process. I'm sure you appreciate that, right?
Can't get much information from a dead man.
Ain't that the truth, right? Meanwhile, I'm becoming very popular on the subject of our mutual friend. This room isn't wired, is it?
I did a sweep.
When highly paid PIs start asking me questions the way you two are, I tend to take extra precautions.
Who?
Max Scorpio. He wants to know the connection between Frank and Jack Boland.
Mac. Hired by who? Quartermain?
Guess so.
Edward is looking to find stuff on Jack and Frank to take the heat off himself?
That'd be my read. It fits with what his lawyer's been saying on TV.
I missed it.
Well, you know the tune. He's talking about politically motivated setup and, Edward's business enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, but there's a certain amount of logic to their reasoning. I mean, if you look at the four main players in the deal to stop my father and take into account that it was a homicide, which one of them steps up to the plate?
The cleanup hitman. Frank.
So that was awfully nice of Sonny to drop by with that bit of information.
Well, he's in a tough spot,
Seems to be having a good time.
Danger agrees with some people.
Like you, for instance?
That's an ongoing debate. I got a question for you, my friend.
Well, let's hear it.
Is Edward going after Frank and Jack because he's innocent? Mary May insists he is. And the smart money is on Frank.
Right.
Or is the whole thing a smokescreen? Old Quartermain is sly.
Are you saying you think Edward Quartermain is squawking on the television about being framed and all the while he's trying to frame somebody else?
Frank Smith is a perfect setup. What I'm saying is maybe Edward is more diabolical than we give him credit for being.
Luke.
Share with me, Mac. And I'll share with you.
Share what? Mai Tai recipes?
I never touch the stuff. Too sweet.
Me too.
Frank Smith and Jack Boland.
Never made a Mai Tai for Jack Boland. Can't say what Smith imbibes, never had the pleasure.
It ain't much of a pleasure.
So I understand.
The word is you're asking questions about those two.
Was that a question?
Let's make it one.
Whose word?
Does it matter?
It might.
A friend.
Sonny Corinthos.
I have other friends.
Not one with a connection to Smith.
Who's footing your bill, Mac?
Do I have a stupid sign written above my head? I never kiss and tell.
Well, that's very admirable, but how about I take a little guess? Edward Quartermain. Come on, Mac. We're both looking for the same thing here, a connection between Frank Smith and Bradley Ward's murder. Not a flicker. I came to the right place. Mac, here's the deal. I'll tell you everything I know about Jack and Frank, and you fill in some blanks for me. See? Nobody gets hurt. No law's broken. Although I'm not that crazy about holding the letter of the law, it is your PI's license.
Exactly.
Suspicious?
Give me one good reason I shouldn't be. So your primary target is Frank Smith.
Always.
So as long as you solve Bradley Ward's murder, you have no vested interest in hanging Edward Quartermain.
Well, I might fight for a front row seat, but I won't kick the chair out from under him. Can we deal?
Sure.
Okay, great. Frank and Jack Boland were heavily involved in a big real estate deal about 20 years ago. And then they ran into some union trouble.
It shouldn't be too hard to find out who headed up those construction locals back then. And someone might be willing to tell us just how tight they were.
Yeah, and you're in a much better position to do that than I am.
I'm on it. But now, wait a minute. This isn't a one-way street. What do I get in return?
An earful about Frank. All the details on his personal life, his business life. The whole ball of wax. But later. Hey! Hello there.
Hey,
Help you?
yourself.
How are you?
Fine.
You all set for your trip? Yeah, you got your Perth, your papers, and your pith helmet? Maybe your elephant gun?
I would never kill an elephant. Besides, I'm after much larger game than that.
Frisco, beware.